We commissioned a research study with Mindlab International. The research was to explore attitudes towards recycling and to look at the sorts of messages that would either encourage or deter people to recycle.
So what we wanted to know is how is the best way to actually get across to people that we need to recycle more, particularly in the workplace, because there's apathy there. So instead of just asking people what they think, we actually used a testing called implicit association testing. We can actually test on a gut level what people feel, because our emotions power decision making. So to understand how people are going to behave, we really need to look at the emotions themselves.
The main findings of the research were that over half of us are still confused about what we can and can't recycle. Also, we could make quite a lot more effort to encourage our work colleagues to recycle. And on a subconscious level, we see recycling as being much more important when we've just viewed positive messages.
Part of the research involved looking at whether positive or negative messages about recycling are more effective. And we found it's quite interesting that positive messages have a far better impact on changing people's behaviour and attitude towards recycling. This was actually far greater for people who actually had a negative opinion about recycling or recycled less frequently themselves. When it comes to negative messaging, it still did work. If people are reminded about the impact and the importance of recycling, it wasn't as important as the positive messages, but these negative messages did have an impact, particularly on people's non-conscious, subconscious attitudes. People are reticent to recycle in the workplace because we don't know where the buck stops. People don't know whether it's their responsibility, whether it's the company's responsibility. And at home, it's more of a social transaction recycling. People recycle because they know they have to deal with their own waste. So at work, people see it almost on a corporate level and dissociate themselves slightly.
Our study showed that once people see the benefits of recycling, then their view of recycling changes. There are a great many positives to starting to recycle. Businesses, local authorities and individuals alike can all save money by using their resources in a different way. And at the same time, they can start to minimise the impact they have on the environment. There are clear benefits to be had. For example, if companies get involved in local community recycling ventures, one example could be a local school where they collect plastic bottles to make a greenhouse. Now just imagine how satisfying that could be for an individual to contribute to that. And not only that, but also the very positive PR side of things for the donating business. Our survey found out that directors can do a lot more to implement recycling in their businesses. The first step is to spread the word. You can use your internal staff newsletter, talks at company meetings and events, and also you could introduce staff best practice awards. Also organisations such as WRAP, Waste Recycling Action Plan, can help by providing practical advice for businesses. The findings of our research suggested that companies should use cheerleaders to help implement recycling. Cheerleaders, yes, they're not lovely ladies with pom-poms. Cheerleaders are people who are seriously committed to recycling. Once you've identified and signed up, as it were, these people, they will get the positive messages over about recycling and they'll encourage their colleagues to get them involved.
More than half the people that we asked were confused about what they can and can't recycle. So communication is very, very important. This is the key. Using visual information is better than written information because we process images far faster and more easily than the written word. So using images in clearly labelled recycling points is going to be a far better way to help people understand what can and cannot be recycled.
Also what we did, we produced a best practice guide based on the key findings of the survey. The guide is called Selling Recycling to a Sceptical Public, and the idea behind it is to help organisations communicate more effectively. The guide is available for free download from our website at cbipr.com. So what does the future hold? From where I'm sitting, I would see that new regulations are going to drive an uptake of recycling in businesses. The EU has set targets for industry to meet by 2020, and from January 2015, UK businesses must start to separate recyclable materials, so paper, plastics, glass and metal must be separated from other waste. New innovations and technologies certainly exist out there, but I think we need some of this effective communication that we've been talking about today, and we need support to stimulate people to really start using those services and technologies that are available.
One thing's for sure is that we need to improve recycling in the workplace. The important thing is we cannot just force these changes on people. We need to give people the opportunity to recycle better and to make the facilities clearer, easier to understand, and actually put recycling bins in places where people are likely to have rubbish.